your desktop looks like a battlefield of random files, if your inbox is overflowing with unread emails, and your phone is all about screenshots and photos more than actual memories, then you might be, I'm sorry to say, a digital hoarder. But don't worry, you're not alone. My name is Urusha. I work as digital communication specialist, and in this video, I am going to share some tips so that you can break free from this digital clutter. I'm also going to share the psychology behind why we do this so that you can take control of your digital life and you can breathe easier knowing where everything is. So let's get started. Digital hoarding is the excessive accumulation of digital files, emails, apps, and media with little intention to use, organize, or delete them. Over time, this leads to a cluttered and disorganized digital space, causing stress, reduced productivity, and difficulty managing information. While it doesn't take up space like traditional hoarding, its psychological impacts such as anxiety and cognitive overload can have a long-term impact for us. Now let's talk about why many of us fall into this habit in the first place. And you might be surprised to know that it's not just about laziness. There are so many reasons. And combining some psychological factors and research findings, here are 5 reasons why we do it. Number 1, fear of losing important information. Have you ever saved a file or screenshot or email thinking that, oh, I'll come back to it later? So we have this just in case mindset that, oh, just in case if I need later, I don't want to, read it or like look at it right now, but I'll come back to it later, and that later never comes. And when it's actually time to find something that's really important, it's so hard because you've already created this digital clutter. It's so hard to find what's really important in this sea of like random things that you thought you'll come back to it later, but you never did. Number 2, emotional attachment and sentimentality. So digital files can hold as much sentimentality as the physical objects that you keep. So think about it, like it's so hard to delete old photos from your phones where you've created great memories with your loved ones, maybe like messages, childhood photos, the projects that you've worked on. But also think that, oh, how many times have you gone back to those documents or like to those photos, and are they really serving you? Just think about that. Number 3, storage feels unlimited. So you might be thinking, oh, Google Drive, Google Storage, it's very cheap, $199, $299, and it's not harmless. So you don't feel this immediate pressure to delete anything. But what it can do is like create mental clutter because it's so hard to find what you exactly need, stay focused and organized with all the files that you have. So yeah, that can happen. Number 4, procrastination and decision fatigue. So when there are thousands of files to go through, it's very easy to feel overwhelmed and just to avoid the task altogether. And you feel like, oh, I'm just gonna get through it later, but it never comes. And because you don't want to make that decision, and decluttering takes time, energy, and thinking from your brain, and you don't want to do that, it just piles up. Thousands becomes like hundreds of thousands, and you want to know that you're collecting all this information and just creating clutter. Number 5, accidental or work-related hoarding. So sometimes we don't even realize that we are hoarding, but we are actually doing it. Especially when it comes to work, you think that, oh, I might need this information or this email later, like 3 months from now or 6 months from now, but you actually don't need it. Your phone gallery is filled with random screenshots, videos, and photos without you even realizing. But think about it, do you really go back to it? Do you still have videos that you saved 6 months before that you've never looked back, or you never used it in your daily life? Maybe. Right? Now that we've talked about why digital hoarding happens, let's talk about the impact. You might think, oh, it's digital, so it's not, it's not harmful at all, but you'll surprised to know what it does. When you spend way too much time digging through all the cluttered files in different apps and your galleries just to find one thing, it's almost like finding a needle in a haystack, and it takes away your time, your focus, resulting in loss of productivity. And imagine how much more you could get done only if everything was easier to find. Seeing a never-ending pile of files, photos, and things that you need to get through gives you constant anxiety and stress because it feels overwhelming. It feels a lot to deal with, resulting in constant stress. When you're holding to so many old files, photos, your personal information, all that stuff sitting around, it can be an easy target for hackers. And that could be a risk to security and your data. At first, the storage cost might seem very, very cheap, $199, $299, but as time goes and as the digital clutter grows, you end up spending more money, and before you know it, you are paying subscription for Google storage, for OneDrive, and so many other things. And yeah, it's a lot. All the digital clutter that you have accumulated doesn't just sit in the cloud without no consequences. Servers and data centers consume tons of energy, and it can contribute to climate change and can have environmental impact as well. So it's not just like stressing you, but it's also stressing the climate. Now let's talk about the real question, how not to be a digital hoarder. Number one, be intentional about what you save. When you're saving anything, are you saving it because it's useful or because you think you might need it someday? Chances are, if you haven't used a file in 3 months, you never will. So every time you're saving, ask yourself these 3 questions. Is this actually valuable? Will I really use it? Can I find it easily online if I need it later? Number 2, organize smarter, not harder. So your file should not be named document123.jpg or final v1.pdf. These are confusing names for files. What you can do is create clear folders. Use meaningful file names instead of random chaos. Sort files immediately instead of dumping them into a giant miscellaneous folder. If you struggle to find files, use a searchable tagging system instead of endless nested folders. We all have those random moments waiting at the doctor's office, on a flight, on a train, during our commute. So instead of scrolling on your phone, use that time to declutter. Delete old emails while waiting in line. Unsubscribe from spam newsletters during your commute. Clear out blurry photos when you have a minute to spare. Remember, a little effort each day keeps the digital clutter away. Another tip is clean as you go. Think of your digital space like your kitchen. If you wash dishes as you cook, then there'll be less dishes to deal with later. Just like that, if you clean as you go, then you'll have to deal with less files later. Delete junk emails every time you check your inbox. Remove duplicate photos right after taking them. Save only important documents, not everything that lands in your downloads folder. The final 2 tips that I'm going to share are from this amazing book, Building a Second Brain by Tiago Forte. Distill what matters. Don't drown in information. We often do the mistake of keeping entire articles, research papers, and notes, but never review them. So he says, highlight key takeaways and summarize in your own words. Instead of keeping a 5-page study, you can save 1 quote and 3 main points. Actually use what you save. We do this mistake of saving tons of resources, but we never apply them. How can you fix it? Ask yourself, how can I use this today? Turn notes into actionable steps. Use them in conversation, projects, or social media posts. For example, if you saved how to communicate better tips, try them in your next meeting instead of just collecting more info. In the end, I just want to say, in this digital world where it feels like you have unlimited digital space, it's very easy to fall into digital hoarding. But now that we know all the psychological reasons why we do it, all the negative impacts that it has on our body and in the environment, it's very important to be mindful about digital organization and regular decluttering. Just like you get clarity and relief from doing physical decluttering, if you use all of these steps that we talked about in this video, you will also feel relief by doing digital decluttering. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you like my content, subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Bye.